Fantastic. So welcome to Taco Tuesday. I'm Elizabeth. I'm with AZ Health Zone. And perfect. And as Regan says, that we will share this video with our Facebook audience as well, since the information is relevant to the general public. So I'm actually recording it, and we'll have a YouTube link for the recording. So especially for our guest presenters this evening, we'll make sure that you get a copy of that and you can share it with your audiences as well. So tonight's topic is community resources and parent engagement. And so with that in mind, we have invited our partners from WIC. Caleb and Alex are both here. And then we have the Birth of 5 hotline, and that is Anna and Ricardo. And then Martha, who is a member of our ECE coalition or collaboration, is also going to present this evening. And Regan is with us as well, and she will present as well. All right. So our ECE collaboration is made up of a lot of community members. There's AZ Health Zone, FNIP, Cochise County, the CCHCs, Leslie and Andrea, other members of the Cochise Cooperative Extension, and Child and Family Resources as well. So these are all of our members. We thank everybody. All right. So before we do our icebreaker, I am going to put a poll in there. And this would be for doing a half-day Empower workshop. So we are interested if EC staff would be interested in doing a Saturday workshop. So I'll give everyone a few minutes to do that. And while we're doing that, when we move on to presentations, if you're comfortable going first from Birth to 5 hotline, we have you slated for our first time spot, and then WIC, and then Child Family Resources, and then AZ Health Zone, if that works out for everybody. Perfect. So we'll do about another 30 seconds for the poll, and then I'll close that. And then we're going to do our icebreaker. Since we are talking about resources, I would like everyone to find their favorite resource. And it could be anything. It could be a cookbook. It could be your favorite website. It could be your favorite newspaper, your magazine. What is your go-to place for information? All right, so I'm going to end polling. And share these results here. So it looks like definitely yes. And it looks like April 10th is the most popular day. All right. So we talked about this today. So fantastic. So we'll be sending out more information about this. Fantastic. All right. All right, so I'll give you like 2 minutes and go find your favorite resource. I'm going to stop sharing the screen so I can see everybody, because otherwise all I see is like a couple pictures. Ah, perfect. So Nancy says her favorite resource is Google. Yes. Great. Thank you, Nancy. So I love to cook, and I've had this cookbook forever, and it's How to Cook Everything. And this is one of my favorite go-to sources of information. It's very well loved and stained because it literally has a recipe for everything. So I use this quite a bit. Would anyone else like to share?
I can share. My favorite resource is Facebook groups of like other professionals. So whether it's like nutrition educators or lactation consultants or doulas, I belong to all of these different groups, and it's really easy to search. Like if I have a question about the Medela breast pump, like I can search that and then see like what other people have asked, what other people have talked about, like because there's so much information there from colleagues. Like we're connected across the world, and living in a rural area, that can be harder to have like a mentorship type thing. And so it's really nice to have things like that.
Great.
Facebook groups.
So Ricardo says YouTube tutorial videos. Those are very popular in our house as well. And Leslie says the Legacy Foundation Resource Guide. Yes, that has everything. All right. Anyone else want to share? And we have 2 new people joining. So
I wanted to share, Elizabeth, for me, I think I agree with everybody because I think I use everything from Google to Facebook to YouTube, like pretty much like everywhere. But the other one that I use often is the Arizona 211 for resources.
Oh. That's good to know.
Hey, Caleb here. I just want to say that there's some really great comments in the chat section. So I really agree with all those options. One of my favorite resources is Healthline. Anything health related, I like to see what Healthline has to say because they have a lot of evidence-based articles, and the professionals do their best to source and cite everything that they're discussing, and that's good for what we do for WIC and just in health in general. So that's one of my favorites.
Awesome. Thank you.
For me, it's really hard to find one because I guess I have a number of different ones based on what I'm looking for. So if I'm looking for cooking, I have to say that the New York Times has amazing daily recommendations, which are written also so funny and beautiful that it's super fun. If it's professional, it also depends on the theme. So if it's for parents, I'll recommend a couple of different websites or organizations from 0 to 3. They have wonderful articles for parents. And I don't know, it's really very vast. So it's very hard for me to say one, but I have to say, the one thing that somehow keeps me going this year is WhatsApp. So I don't know if I can put it as a resource, but that's where we have been living. So
It's a resource for social connection. So I say that's absolutely a resource.
Absolutely, absolutely. Would anyone else like to share? All right. All right, so perfect. I love that. So with that, I have one more poll, and um, no. There we go. I'm still learning this whole poll thing. Bear with me. There we go. So how familiar are you with resources in your community? About 20 more seconds, and we'll close the poll. Every time I say that, I think the clock slows down. All right, I think we're all in. Share that. So 5 of us say we could know a little more. 2 of us know a lot, which is awesome. And 3 of us know a little. So fantastic. So let's learn about some of our community resources. We've invited the Birth to 5 hotline, which is a fantastic resource for parents. So I'm going to turn it over to them. And we're going to do like 20, 30 minutes for a presenter or less, however, whatever you're comfortable with. And please take it away.
Elizabeth, I'm just trying to remember because we've been doing so many presentations. We have not sent you our PowerPoint.
No, but I can allow you to share a screen if you'd like.
Okay. Do you prefer us to use it, or you just? I'm fine either way.
Whichever. We do it both ways, so whichever way
Okay.
is good.
I think because we're sharing a video later to people, the PowerPoint might be more helpful.
That's a good point.
But it's also not a necessity. So people can watch this as well or listen.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, great. Thank you. So do you guys see it? Yes?
Yes.
Great. Wonderful. So, hi everyone. My name is Ana Arbel. I manage the Birth to 5 helpline at Southwest Human Development. And Ricardo Reyes is here with us too. He's our community outreach manager. So he will be also sharing some information while I'm talking. And he's the to-go person to get all of our materials and information. So we've been doing this work. The Birth to 5 helpline has been supporting parents, caregivers, and professionals for a very long time. So 2005. So thank you for allowing us to present to you all, which I don't think we have done before. So this is exciting. So just to get us started, I would like to say just a little bit about the organization where the Birth to 5 helpline operates, which is Southwest Human Development. We are the largest nonprofit dedicated to early childhood development. Over 40 years, our mission has been to strengthen the foundation that children need to have a great start in life. The majority of our programs really focus on the first 5 years because we know, we all do, the importance that those years have for life, right? And having a securing child's health, well-being, and all the opportunities that we want to provide for kids to have the strongest foundation and possibilities in the future. We have more than 900 staff that provide over 40 programs and services to around 140,000 children and their families every year. Contacting the Birth to 5 helpline is like a gateway to any of our programs. You want to know more about some, because there is no way we're going to be able to really focus on all of them. But anything that is around early childhood, we do one way or the other. We have different key areas from child development to mental health. That's where the Birth to 5 helpline resides. As well as the only mental health counseling site that's really focused on the first 3 years of life, which is the Good Fit Center. Easter Seals Disability Services in Central and Northern Arizona. Early communication, language, and literacy, it's really infused in so many of our programs, and hopefully what I explain a little bit about the helpline, you will hear this, at least how it is in the helpline. Head Start and Early Head Start, we have programs in 5 central Phoenix school districts. We have a number of programs supporting foster kinship care and adoption families, in-home services, and home visitation. And we do a lot of professional development and training. I'm just going to mention it really fast. We have 2 trainings that are done by one of the therapists from our counseling center that's really open for families and professionals. That's around trauma and how the trauma experiences influence lives of young children and their families, and how families can support young kids in the foster care system, but not only, really traumatic experiences. And another one is related with COVID and how COVID has influenced the lives of young children, developmental challenging issues, and how to support families. And then for you as professionals, we have our Harris Infant Mental Health Training Program, which is a 1-year or 2-year program, depending on what's your profession. Super fast. More questions? Call us, and we'll get into detail. The Birth to 5 helpline is a statewide service, a free resource to everyone, for parents, caregivers, early childhood providers, educators, whoever has a child and from birth to 5 and has some questions or concerns, you can call us. Answered by professionals, early childhood specialists with a variety of different backgrounds, so early childhood special ed, counseling, social work, in purpose, a transdisciplinary lens to all the different things that come up and challenges in the first years of life, bilingual and bicultural, and we can also accommodate other languages as needed. And complementary service of the helpline is our Fussy Baby program that supports families with infants until 12 months of age with any of the challenges of the first year of life. So fussy, colicky, sleeping, feeding, mental health issues from the parenting perspective, challenges relating with the baby and how to support them. We speak in the phone with anyone around the state. We were providing home visits, and hopefully we'll get there soon again when things get in a better place for everyone. And now we're doing it through Zoom. Another important part is that while all those years that we've been working and supporting our callers, we have accumulated an incredible amount of resources, really everywhere in Arizona, for any communities, but we're also always interested in hear changes, modifications of programs and services, because that, especially this year has changed a lot, and we want to be informed of all the changes. We are open Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Because we want to make it as easy as possible for families or for callers to contact us at a time that it's good for them. They can call, they can email us through our website page, and access our online form. We want to make it really as easy as possible. Why do people call us? Really a combination of topics and needing resources. So any of these topics that we have here, but really anything that you can imagine, we have been asked, and nothing is out of the question. Every question is a good question. When someone that's with a little one is doubting something, want to reflect, wants to get a second perspective, we see it as a fantastic supportive way of being with young kids. So instead of Googling, talking with professionals and getting into conversations, so we can really listen to their questions, try to understand it from their perspective, their culture, their values, who they are as a family, so we can think together what things may be occurring and making it difficult. Sometimes very, very difficult, and sometimes it's a little thing that it's their question, and that's fine too. And then we'll come up together with ideas of what they can modify or change a little bit to make things better. It's really an exchange, it's a discussion. We are professionals, families know their kids, so we're really working together. And really anyone can call, whoever is in contact one way or another with children. I just want to mention very briefly about our perinatal resources. This has been a year that in particular has influenced so much families living alone, giving birth and having babies, and the experience being difficult. So if postpartum depression and anxiety was always a big part of the experience of having new babies, it's been a lot more difficult this year. So being able to provide resources and have those open conversations is incredibly important. A little bit more about the Birth to 5 helpline. We are part of the Fussy Baby National Network. And I'm going to tell you very briefly what that means, what is our theoretical approach to the work, but it's really listening to who the family is, to who the caller is in a very sensitive way. Asking what needs to be asked, and sometimes allowing them really to share as much as they want or not, in a very personalized approach, with the attention that they deserve, and spending the time that it's needed. So a call can be 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever is needed to give them the support that they need. It can be one call, it can be 5, it can be 10, it really depends, until the caller gets what they needed. Built into the framework of the helpline is a regular consultation with a pediatrician. As I was telling you before, we are a transdisciplinary team, and health influences the life of young kids. So a child that either has any kind of medical issue that's influencing the way they grow, develop, behave, and challenges how they learn and how they relate and what they do. So we want to consider that lens. This is our approach to work. It's a theoretical approach that comes from the Fussy Baby National Network, which is all around the United States now, infused to many, many different programs, from early intervention to home visitation programs, to training pediatric residents, psychiatric residents, judges. It's incredibly useful because it's all about attunement. It's about how we understand what the caller or the person we're working with, what do they need in the moment? Is it about their emotions? Is it about their question? Are they so emotionally involved they cannot really think and talk? And what we need to do is being attuned to what they're feeling, but also being attuned to how we as providers are feeling when we're having those difficult conversations is as important, because without that, there is really no capacity to support others. So it's a training that it's 2 days and then 2 or 2.5, and it's another half a year of supportive professional consultation. What we want to achieve is the 3 rectangles that you see in the bottom, is to increase the parent or the caregiver confidence or the professional confidence, to strengthen that relationship between parent and caregiver and their child, and to promote healthy development of parents and infants and young children. It's a primary prevention and early intervention resource that really an approach that allows our specialists to discern and address risk factors to healthy child development and family functioning, but also to discern strengths and protective factors. So we really take all of that into consideration. It's an evidence-informed model. It has a trauma-informed lens and also has the lens of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So who the person that's calling us is fundamental. Their history is fundamental to understand that. Their values, who their family is, how they see themselves as parents, and how they want to approach the situation. It's really at the core of what we do. Couple of more things. We are really big in early literacy, in the importance of supporting it from a parent caregiver perspective. We talk about books. We bring this up in how parents can interact through the stories that they tell us with about their daily lives and their routines, how they can use early literacy ideas. We share books. We share resources like the library and many other programs in the community, but also we mail books to families. So those books that we mail, also we match them to who the caller is. What are their questions, the age of their child, who their family is, what are the kids' interests, and also talk about how to use those books, in particular for many families that have not grown up with books and reading is not part of their lives. So we have those conversations. So how would that be for them to be using books with their kids? What would make it an interesting and good experience for them? We do presentations also in the community about all these different topics that we typically talk about. This is how our room used to look like. And we had a number of people answering the phones. Now we're doing virtually, but little by little we are going back. So we'll see how that works. Let me just give you very, very fast a couple of brief stories to give you a feeling of what the work looks like. So a mom called us and she's concerned because she has a 3.5-year-old that was going to childcare and used to love it, but he had an accident, he fell down, broke his arm very significantly, had a cast from shoulder to his fingers. And since then, they've been calling her from childcare so frequently that he's pushing and he's biting and has all these difficult interactions that make it very difficult for the teachers that are working for him, for the kids, and also for him. Mom really didn't know what to do with it, was very worried she was going to lose her job because she couldn't keep going to pick him up early every day. So she was really worried, but had no idea where to go to. So we started thinking with her about what happened, what had changed in his life, how it has affected his capacities of what he can do, how he can interact with others, how he can take care of himself. Cannot even go to the bathroom by himself, cannot dress himself. and completely change his way of being with himself and with others. So that's really been very traumatic. So supporting the conversation that the specialist was having with mom was also this trauma training that I was telling you in the very beginning that we provide. So we offer it to the mom. She participated in it and was so feeling that after the training, how everything clicked for her. It made sense. She could understand how her son was feeling and how he was acting. And she could respond differently too. So that's a very, very brief story, just to give you a gist of it. And then one other story that is also center related is a director owner, actually, of a very small center, had 2 rooms. And, you know, through this year, they open, they close, they open, they close, with all the different difficulties that we're having. And this little kid that has been there since he was a baby started going back with so many challenges, and he was really attached to the owner, not to the teacher. It was very difficult. They did not know what to do with him because a lot of crying, just holding into the owner's legs, and so conversations and trying to understand what is coming and going meant for the kid, or the separations from the parent, as well as thinking about where he was developmentally and some things that we were seeing from the description of the director to help her think how she can have conversations with the family about where this kid's needs and development issues were, an explanation about the systems like the ASAP system and how they can support the family, how they can support the center as well, and thinking about some ideas of how to bridge that beautiful relationship she had with this little kid to the teacher so that he would also feel comfortable in the classroom. And giving her also words and trying to think together what will be words to use to explain to the parents some of the difficulties that he was having. So just another example. And I know I can go on and on with examples, but we don't have that time. But just wanted to give you a gist of what it is that we do. How parents connect with us. We have an app that's fantastic, especially for millennials. Like, everyone loves our cell phone, and they can call us from there. They can text us. They can email us. We tell all providers, you can have it too in your app. So if you have a good connection with a family, with a caregiver, and you can show them, listen, in the moment, we can call, email, or text for the support that you need, and the trust that they have on providers, then it's kind of a bridge to the Birth to 5 helpline as well. So it's a free app. And you can also get into the Southwest Human Development website and get information about all the different programs. So very, very, very helpful. And last, but not less important, we have lots of materials about our program that we'll be more than happy to share with you all anytime. We can mail them to you. They're in bundles of 50, so magnets, dual-sided bilingual rack cards, informational door hangers that are specific to the first year of life. And you can contact us, thefirst5helpline.org or community@southwesthumandevelopment.org. That goes directly to Ricardo, and that's his direct number as well. Really, any way that we can support you in the work that you do, we're here for you. So I guess that's the last of it. If there are questions, if you want us to do the questions now, what will work for you guys?
Does anyone have any questions? I just have to say, that is amazing. I wish I had this when I had a little. This is an amazing resource.
Yeah.
And I will be like telling all my friends with littles.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually really incredible. I have worked in early childhood for a really long time and had an idea of what you guys did, but not to the extent that I want to like scream and shout, like, come on, everybody should be calling all the time. That's amazing. Thank you for this presentation.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, the comments are everyone is very informative. This is very, very good information. And good information, I think, for our early childhood centers to have, so that they can help share that information out as well to help support families.
That's right. You know, we have worked with many centers, and if they're interested, we can send them either our records or our magnets, and they can include those in the packets they have for families from the very beginning. So they don't have to wait for a problem to happen. That's part of the information that they provide to the children and families that they have at their side.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Sure.
So I don't see any questions right now. Feel free to stay if you'd like. And then if our WIC partners are ready, I'll turn it over to Caleb and Alexandra.
All right. So I'm just gonna attempt to share my screen. Okay. And so, hello everyone, my name is Caleb Wilson. I am the Public Health Dietitian and WIC Program Director for the Cochise County WIC Program. And I also have Alexandra Fowler with me tonight. And she is our registered dietitian for the county of Cochise. So I'm not sure if Alexandra wanted to say a few words before I kind of get going. If not, that's really cool. I know she's with her little right now. So, okay. Oh. Okay, so she says she can't, so she's sorry. It means she's with her little. Okay, so to get started, I'm just going to show everyone a quick video, and hopefully I don't have any technical difficulties showing it. Okay. If something goes wrong, just let me know, and I'll just kind of pick up where the video left off.
Caleb, is it supposed to have sound?
Yes, no sound.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
so if you unshare your screen or just like reshare it, at the bottom of the thing that will pop up when it asks you to share, it should be, yeah, share computer
Gotcha.
sound.
Okay, thank you. As many times as I've used Zoom, I've never noticed that. Okay, let's try again. Better? Okay, so the WIC program, what we're usually known for is our nutrition education, our breastfeeding support, and healthy foods. The way we deliver our nutrition education is through all of our staff, which they go through 3 to 6 months of training, and then they also have continuous education hours, about a few dozen hours throughout the year, continuing to enhance their nutrition education to support the families in the community. So when you're going inside of a WIC office, you're going to get, of course, the trained staff and their knowledge about nutrition. You're also getting to work with a registered dietitian as well. So that is one of the great benefits of the WIC program for all the eligible participants. We also support moms with breastfeeding. So we have our peer counselor program, and we also have referrals that we go out to our IBCLC, and we just want to yeah. So our IBCLC, they handle the bigger scope. So whether mom's having basic issues with breastfeeding or very like complex issues with breastfeeding, all of her needs can be met within the WIC program, and it's entirely free. So that's a great resource for all the parents in the county to utilize. And our program, we also focus on moms throughout the prenatal up to the postpartum cycle as well. So moms, they can come in and enroll right at their first week of pregnancy if they find out that early. But ideally, you want to get moms in as soon as they can. That way we can provide nutrition support, breastfeeding support, and also make the necessary referrals to other programs. A lot of times we've made referrals to like Birth to 5 or Health Start or any some of the other programs within the community. So we like to think of ourselves as not like the one-stop shop, but we're going to be like the hub to point moms in a direction where they can get more help that goes beyond our scope of practice. And the most, I guess, the most important thing for our audience is also getting the healthy foods. We're definitely about nutrition, and we show that by providing WIC benefits, which cover fruits, vegetables, dairy products, protein foods. So we have all your needs, most of your needs met with the WIC food benefits. Even though it doesn't cover 100% of your nutrition needs for the month, it does cover a big portion. So I believe it's right around 70 to 80% of nutrition needs for per family member. So it's a pretty big food package and a really great value. So like I was mentioning before, WIC staff go through lots of training for nutrition, for health, cover development lightly, but not as much as Birth to 5. That's when we make our referrals to other programs. But we do concentrate on nutrition. And so throughout their time with WIC, they'll see us at least 4 times. So the 2 times will be for the initial health check and certification, and then a mid-cert, and then 2 other times will be concentrated on receiving or delivering nutrition education, where it's solely focused on providing individualized care and nutrition education needs for the family. So during that time in the appointment, our staff, they're getting to the heart of the matter. They're using their feelings-based counseling to find out what's going on with the families and seeing where they can provide the most value when it comes to health and nutrition for their family, and also breastfeeding. So if breastfeeding comes up, we're doing the same thing. We're using our feelings-based counseling and providing breastfeeding support within that appointment. I'll also go along to say that the WIC program, out of all the other programs that are that have breastfeeding support staff, that I believe WIC is one of the most highly trained breastfeeding support members in the state, because they receive their online training course when they're first hired. They get a 2-day breastfeeding boot camp or breastfeeding basics training. Then they also have a 1-week breastfeeding boot camp. And we also have continuing education hours throughout the year, along with other resources that go towards supporting staff to support our community. So we get a lot of value that we're able to provide to our families to help support breastfeeding and healthy families. So like you've seen in the video, it takes a village to raise a child, but who else is going to be supporting the caregiver and the mom along the process? There's so many things to consider when you start that journey of parenthood and motherhood. So things to consider are choosing healthy foods, learning how to breastfeed, finding the right doctors for yourself and for your children, getting those kids ready for school. That birth to 5 range is such a critical point for a child's development that it really takes a lot to make sure everything goes on track to help secure their healthy future. So for their next 5, 10, 15, 20-year-old, you're helping to secure their health and their development throughout that time period. So throughout this time, it really helps to support those that are going to be taking care of those little ones. And that's what the WIC program does. We're supporting the moms to help take some of the anxiety or anything that's overwhelming her when it comes to health and nutrition for her family. Another thing is sometimes when we throw out the term WIC, and it stands for women, infants, and children, sometimes we think that only applies to moms, but fathers, grandparents, foster parents, and other guardians, they can also apply on behalf of their children as well. So who is WIC for? WIC is for infants and children up to the age of 5, pregnant women, breastfeeding moms, and infants up until the infant's first birthday, and women whose pregnancy ended less than 6 months ago. So that's our audience that we focus on for right now. And I'm not sure if there's any changes to that. I know there's some talks of extending the age, but for right now, all we know is that it's going up. It only goes up to 5 years old. If you go to the azwic.gov website, you can learn if you're eligible for WIC. You can find a clinic and find out more about the WIC program. So it's a really great website. And this is actually on their homepage. This is just like a snippet of what you'll find. It's really easy to find, and their clinic search function is really useful too. And one of the future slides, they do have a 1-800 number, and the staff on that end, they're really great with connecting potential participants or even current participants to their right clinic or their correct local agency. So they have really great customer service, and they're here for the community, and they have really great hours too. I don't know their exact hours, but they're available even during like holidays and some of the other days when normal clinics are closed. So they're really here for the community. Okay, I just seen something in the chat section. I want to address that. So Andrea, she says, are the group classes offered via Zoom? Can mothers attend if they are not a WIC recipient? So right now, during these special times, we're not offering any in-person appointments, but we are doing virtual appointments over Zoom and over phone calls. And this is available to all WIC participants. In order to attend the group class, you do have to be enrolled in WIC. But there are a lot of great WIC resources that are available to those that are not on WIC. So if you go to the azwic.gov website, and maybe I should just show, since we're on the video, I think that'll be valuable to kind of show different things on the website. So I'm going to
Yeah, do it.
take a little detour. Great question. Bear with me. So I have this as all right. So I'm just going to go from the top. So azwic.gov. And what you can do is scroll all the way to the bottom, and it has like the WIC families. What I normally go to is where it says local agency, and this is where I get some of the resources for nutrition education that will be covered in the classes. Let's see, okay, nutrition education. So here, there's lots of great resources. So for moms or for families that aren't on WIC or not eligible for WIC, you can see that there's the eatright.org, there's the AAP, Arizona Breastfeeding, Arizona Head Start, Health Zone, Cooking Matters, Feeding Matters, First Things First, My Plate, Strong Families AZ, the USDA, another great one, WICWorks, lots of great handouts that relate to either nutrition or like food preparation or cooking, getting the family involved, fitness, overall health. So these are some really great resources available. So hopefully that helps or that answers that question. I'm going to go back to the chat section to see. Okay, so really great resources. Thanks. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the presentation now. Great question. Sorry, I'll go back to presentation mode. Okay. I just wanted to talk a little bit more about how we're providing services now. So you may be wondering, well, how are we going to show the eligibility documents like photo or photo ID, proof of address, proof of income. So right now, we're still able to take that information and we're getting it securely sent back and forth between the client and our staff. So we're able to safely take in that information that we need for the appointment. So it's contactless. And we can also provide our services via Zoom and also over the phone as well. For group classes, we have a program called WIC Your Way, where for those 2 nutrition education contacts that you've seen on the previous slide, the WIC family has the opportunity to enroll in one of those WIC Your Way courses where they talk about fitness, cooking together as a family, overcoming picky eating. Those are some of the popular ones, and the family has the ability to choose whatever works according to their schedule or interest and topic. So either one. And the sessions are really fun. I used to conduct them myself, and Alexandra used to do the same thing too. And it's a really nice small group, maybe between 5 or 7 moms. It may seem kind of nerve-wracking at first because you're in a group with other people, you don't really know them, but the facilitator, the way they ask the questions and get everyone engaged, there's a little like icebreaker activity. By the end of the whole course, the moms are talking, or the moms, sometimes there's dads too. So the parents are talking and they're sharing all this information. They're realizing that, hey, it's not just me that's having some of these challenges with, trying to help my family eat healthy or be active. And they're also sharing ideas and tips with each other with how to achieve those goals. If a class goes really good, the facilitator says very little, and they may just chime in at the end to kind of sum everything up. So it's mostly client driven, that conversation, with the facilitator highlighting the important parts of what they're talking about and just like reinforcing the healthy ideas that they're coming up with. So um, really good class to be a part of. Okay, so as far as for eligibility or bringing your documents to an appointment or presenting now that you're coming in physically, we're going to have your proof of ID for every member that's enrolling that day, including the parent. Even if the parent's not enrolling, we want their ID as well. We want 30 days of the last pay stubs. One automatically qualifying element is being on Access or SNAP. So if you're on either of those two, you automatically qualify. And one of the neat things about Access is that if you're a pregnant mom on Access, your whole family automatically qualifies for WIC if they're within the age range. Or newborn infants or infants on Access, they'll make the family eligible for WIC. So those are two neat circumstances where the family can become eligible for WIC if they have one of those two participants on Access. Some that are not mentioned, you can also be on TANF or Section 8 and also get adjunct eligibility. So those are other ways to qualify outside of just presenting your pay stubs. Since I'm kind of showing eligibility, I also want to go over this too. So just give me 1 second. Just wanted to show the flyer for the income eligibility since we're talking about eligibility. So when it comes to family eligibility, we'll count the unborn child as a part of the household size. So if we have a mom and her unborn infant, she'll count for a household size of 2. And then we'll just look to this chart to determine if she's eligible for or not. So I'll just leave this here for a quick second. That way, if you're watching later, you can count up your family size and see if you're eligible. Now, you may be looking at these numbers and you may count yourself out. Don't count yourself out. I would say call us because there are also other rules to determining eligibility, and you may not be counting your family size correctly because it's not as simple as just counting who's underneath your house or who's underneath your roof of your house. So just give us a call here. There's a 1-800 number, and they'll assign you a clinic to call, and they can help you determine if you're eligible too. Okay, so almost done. About 2 more slides to go. Oh, I'll just wrap up this. Proof of address, you can use your driver's license. You can also use a current bill, mortgage receipt, or rent receipt. Oh, so we already had on that slide. Kind of jumped ahead of myself. There's also, let's see. Yeah, so that's right. I kind of already went over that. Sorry about showing the website, but it's also in Spanish too. You've seen that there's also in both languages, and there's also a military. No, not military. Sorry. Nope, that was incorrect. Sorry, I'm mixing up 2 different things. But okay. So Cochise County, right now, this is where we're currently offering, or where we're currently stationed within the county. So we have Wilcox, we have Benson, Sierra Vista, Bisbee, Douglas. Pretty soon, we're still waiting on some paperwork to come through, but we're hoping to open up a clinic in Elfrida. And so we'll have another location and we'll have Cochise County covered in another area. All right, so I think that completes the presentation. I'm not sure if there's any questions or anything, but here are all your numbers for the different WIC clinics in the county. So I'll just leave it here for a while. And all of our clinics, most of our clinics are Monday through Thursday. They're Sierra Vista and Douglas. There are bigger service provider areas. So they are Monday through Friday. And we schedule and take clients' calls, potential clients' calls, and we'll see if you're eligible and help you out. So that's pretty much it. I'm not sure if there's any other questions. I don't see anything in the chat section. Oh, actually, I lied. Okay, Alexandra says, feel free to reach out directly to myself or Caleb if you have any questions. So I'll just go back to the beginning so you can see our contact information. For me, it's best to reach me by email, but you can also leave a voicemail on my cell phone, and then Alexandra's email is there as well. I think we both would prefer email, but hey, our cell phone's here for a reason too, so feel free to reach out. And if I don't answer, definitely leave a voicemail and leave details so I can get back to you. All right, thank you for inviting us out and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. It's fantastic information for our families. I love it. Thank you. Is anyone
really exciting to know about a possible free debt clinic? That's really exciting.
Absolutely. That's such good news. I love that. Fantastic. Any questions at this time? All right, well, fantastic. Well, you know how to get in touch with them. So if there's nothing, we will move along to Child and Family Resources and our partner, Martha.
Hello, thank you. Well, I want to start out by saying thank you to Anna and Ricardo from Southwest Human Development, and then also Caleb and Alexandra. Like, you know, really with CCRR, we are trying to bring all these organizations and programs together, and you know, Caleb mentioned something about the one-stop shop, and that's kind of really what CCRR is trying to do. It's just for people to come to CCRR and find all these different programs. So I'm going to share real quick, and I do have a presentation, but I'm just going to quickly try to go through it. Let me see. Let me know if you can see it, Elizabeth. Okay. So can you see it? Yeah, cool. Okay, so CCRR is part of Child Family Resources, and Child Family Resources has just recently turned 50 years of service. We are a statewide program. CCRR is funded by the Arizona Department of Economic Security. And so it is a statewide, like I said, statewide program in Arizona that helps families, children, child care providers and communities with any child care needs. And also one of the things that we're doing is consumer education and making sure that everybody's aware of some of the information and resources that are available out to them. So one of the things we like to say is kind of in a joking matter, but in reality it is that we wear here at CCR, we wear many hats, because one of the things that we do is that we're working with families, find quality childcare, but we're also trying to support and help the providers offer that quality childcare. And in the middle, we're trying to make sure that both families, the communities, and providers are aware of all these resources and that are available to them. So 5 goals that we have here at CCRR is we want to raise awareness about the needs for the importance of high quality childcare, like I said, increase the supply for recruiting childcare programs, both for new homes or also for center-based, and then offer services and support to childcare programs. Especially, we just started the new childcare networking that we're kind of doing that every 2 months. We're trying to bring all the providers in and just do networking. So I can share some more information on that later on. And also, the other thing we're trying to do is promote professional development and resources for those childcare programs. And then build, and I think this is the most important, build community and employer partnerships. So I do have to say that we here at CCNR, we have two teams. We have the team that's the child care specialist, and what they do is that they take care of that phone line, all the calls. So ideally, what the child care specialist does is when a family calls us, they do about an intake that takes about 10 minutes, and they gather all the information. And then, like, if they're looking for childcare, they want to know, like, what times that family needs, what days they need childcare. If they're looking for a center, if they're looking for a private, if they're wanting like a home provider, so this childcare specialist will do all that intake. The interesting and the beautiful part about this is, while they're doing this intake, they're actually, as they're having this conversation with the families, if anything that immediately raises a red flag, as far as what the family needs. So, for example, if the family needs care for a special needs child, they immediately bring that resource and make sure that they're going to offer it and have it available for the family. The same, and that's where that one-stop shop comes in, is that we're trying to make sure that we have all this information. So when we do get that call where that family does need that resource, we have it available. So, for example, birth to 5, any question that arises, as far as if they're struggling with the newborn or a development delay, or any kind of concern, we immediately, CCNR wants to immediately have these resources available for the family. And we try, we share this information with the families when they're on the call. And so the child care specialist is highly motivated to help make sure that these families know that there's these different resources available. So our services is confidential. All the information collected is not shared with anybody outside our source or entity. CCNR does not recommend or endorse any child care setting. So that's the other thing we really want to enforce, is that, and let everybody know that even though we're doing resources and we're doing some referrals, we're not endorsing anybody specifically. We're just making, so for example, one of the things we do is we offer 5 referrals. When somebody's looking for childcare, we offer at least 5 resources or referrals to childcare. So it's not one specific. We're not endorsing or recommending anybody specifically. So we also, the other thing that we are sponsoring, and a big part of, is the expulsion and suspension or complaint. And CCNR is the only one that's doing it at this time. It's a DS program where we take all the calls or all the complaints, and once we help the family or even the provider, because sometimes there is complaints as far as expulsion or suspension, either from a provider or from a staff. We take that call and it triages to the appropriate, where it needs to go. So that's the other thing. One of the things that CCRR is, we're highly motivated to support families. We want to help them navigate the childcare system by educating them about their different options, what to look for, and providing tools to help them make the best and most informed decision for their family. We also, like I mentioned earlier, provide consumer education about how to recognize quality childcare and understand what is available. So again, as we're doing this, and I said that childcare specialists make sure to any tips or any red flags is what the family is, besides looking for childcare. If they need something specifically or might have a concern, we want to make sure that we're offering and supporting them with the right resources. So we are available Monday through Friday, 8 to 6. the childcare line, but this is a tool that's offered to the public. Anybody can go on to AZCRR.com, and that's available, of course, 24/7. And it has many tools. I mean, it has this website has to offer for providers. It has many things for families, for the community, how to support the families, how to support organizations. The beauty of CCRR is we're working together with many organizations like First Things First, Child Care of America. One of my favorite is, and we're always kind of encouraging families and providers to use, is the Sesame Street community.org website. I mean, just there's so many resources out there, and just that one itself has many, like if a family's been through trauma, if a family, going through a divorce, any kind of topic, like Sesame Street has it. There's like great resources out there. So we're always sharing this information. Like I said earlier about WIC, if a family wants more information on WIC, we make sure that we offer that resource and direct them to where to go and where to look for it. The same with Birth to 5. They're looking for anything specific, we direct them to Birth to 5. So, and that's what kind of we're trying to do. We're like this big directory of resources, especially for Arizona, and we want to make sure that we're supporting each other and collaborating with many programs and organizations. I know, like here in Cochise, and like specifically like for Sierra Vista, the Legacy Foundation has been a great help and has many resources. I mentioned at the beginning that 211 Arizona, I think I said it backwards at the beginning, it's 211 Arizona. And also, you can go to that page and you can find anything from housing to assistance for utility bills, education, if you're looking for anything that has to do with education, and it's in there. So and then I know like the Legacy Foundation has even like a brochure, I think, or a book that has like all these different resources available. So I mean, I think one of the things I'm always mentioning to my friends and families, like my husband, I was telling him, I go, I worked in a daycare for like 15 years, and I was kind of, blindsided by this, working there. And I never knew about, I didn't even know about CCRR until I started working there, and I really never investigated about with child family resource. I was kind of blindsided by where I was working at and didn't know that there was all this stuff available for us out there. So now that I'm doing this job, it's like, oh my God, there's so many. And so just getting the word out and if anybody knows of a family that's struggling or needs a little bit of extra support, or just kind of, letting them know, hey, there's this resources out there, they can definitely go straight to, specifically what they're looking for. Or if not, they can always get in contact with ACCRR.com and do their own research there, or call our specialist. And, we're more than gladly be able to help them. One of the things I did want to mention is we do serve families or children 0 to 12. And then we have, like, my job, I'm a community engagement specialist. My job is to get all these organizations together and make sure and do some networking and collaborate with different organizations so we can bring these together. So that's continuing to be my job. I'm serving Cochise, Greeley, and Graham right now. And so I was trying to bring these organizations together so together we can work, especially in these counties, like right now for Cochise. And so I think, the cooperative extension for bringing us together, and this is like amazing that we're doing this job together. I did want to share one of the things I mentioned earlier in our meeting is that right now we have, and like I said, this is part of a resource that's available to the providers or anybody that's working in reality with early childhood, is that right now there's a scholarship that's being funded by ACDS, and it's the Professional Career Pathway Project. And what they're doing is they're paying college tuition for up to 24 credits in a year. Also, they're providing a stipend for books. And this is being offered through all the community colleges here in Arizona for early childhood education classes. So, I mean, that's what CCRR is all about. It's like bringing all these resources. And as soon as we know of any, anything that's going to be to support or to help both the parents and the providers, we're making sure that we're letting and getting the word out, So, and this is one of the things that right now we see happening. Also, there's been a great assistance with the essential workers, families that are families that are considered essential workers. They're getting help, and then also the providers making sure that they're able to help those families. So all that information is available at az.gov. That's like the biggest part right now where you can find resources. So I can, like I said, anybody can give us a call. Our number is 1-800-308-9000. We're available Monday through Friday, 8 to 6, and then Saturdays also to 8 to noon. And then you can visit our website anytime. We are on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and you can find us there too. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. There is one question in the chat box.
Mm-hmm.
What was the Sesame Street resource?
It's sesamestreetcommunities.org, and it has like videos on different topics, and also like blogs, and I encourage anybody to or everybody to visit it. It has many resources within.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is such a great resource for families and for everybody. I have a quick question. So you said that your organization works with up to 12 years old? So do you work with like PTOs, for example?
Yes, we do. Sometimes, like right now, I'm supporting the Sierra Vista Parent Coalition, and just like organizations, anything that has to where we can kind of redirect or direct people to join and be part of. That's kind of what we're doing. We serve right now. One of the things is that CCRR manages or helps manage the DS database. And so, and that serves 0 to 12. So anybody that's looking for childcare up to 12 years old, from 0 to 12 years old, they can give us a call. So we would, working with that age, we would refer them to any resource that's up to 12 years old. Any kind of programs that are helping, like young teenagers. We have some resources available.
And I think that's incredibly useful. And because having a kid that's older, childcare is hard. Like it's difficult to find once they kind of age out of the younger age group. So I think that's a really fascinating. I love that that's available, and what a great bridge from little to not quite so little. Awesome. Thank you so much. Great information.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Then Regan, if you are ready, you are up.
Okay, I think I'm gonna keep it pretty short and sweet, just for sake of time and because our other presenters actually talked about a couple of our resources, like connecting us to home visitation programs and such. So I think that's really cool. So I think I'm just gonna share 2 resources with you and then just highlight again why these resources are so important for early childcare and education providers to know and to have, especially when we're thinking about barriers to community engagement or barriers to, to family engagement. And so let me share 2 things first and then kind of move us into the end of the discussion here. So our program, AZ Health Zone, actually has a website. So it's azhealthzone.org. This website you could send to a family who is struggling with recipes for picky eaters, who isn't sure how to maybe cook foods that they would get in a commodities box or at, at any kind of like local giving site where people are giving food. So there's a ton of recipes here. These are constantly being added to and updated. And then for families who are looking to maybe get outside, there's different parks. You can press the explore button and you can look at gardens in your area, parks in your area, trails, and then information about physical activity, which is very cool. So if you have a new family that moves here, maybe the parks and trails resource would be great. There's something else I was going to show you. Oh, on the main page of this, and it might not be as relevant now, but schools are opening up, but it is still relevant in the summer. On this AZ Health Zone webpage, there's the free meals map. And so this has been updated for COVID-19 outbreak, but say all the schools go back, there's no more free meals. This is still going to be updated in the summer. So you could search your zip code, 85607, and see, was that not a zip code? 85625. I'll just do 0. So you can see these are all the places that are offering free meals for kids 0 to 18 right now. And then you click on it and there's the schedule and that kind of thing. So that's pretty exciting. And this, I've actually never seen this before. Adult meals can be purchased at this location for $1.50 for breakfast, $3.25 for lunch. So that's interesting. And then, yeah, you can just see Wichita City and Tombstone, all of those. So that is a really great resource to have. And I just learned something new. I had no idea that adults could also purchase meals. That is so interesting and wonderful for parents who are maybe struggling during the pandemic. So that's one thing I wanted to show you. The other thing I wanted to show you, our lovely Birth to 5 new friends talked about home visitation programs, and we actually have in Cochise County 4 different home visitation programs. And I mean, I wish the word home visitation could like get a revamp, because I think sometimes that sounds like maybe it's a negative or sounds like it's really formal, but really I say it's, you have a super fun family educator that comes to your house, supports you in all parenting things, does fun activities, brings you books, answers any of your questions, connects you to other resources, and does like those developmental and safety screenings so that you can catch anything early, any developmental delays early, but also just have that reassurance that your child is on track and doing what they should be for their age. So it's really, really fun. I love that you can just call Birth to 5 helpline and get connected and probably get information about these home visitation programs and which one's going to be right for you based on which criteria you fit. Just for example, healthy families, you have to enroll under 3 months. So, if you have a 2-year-old and you wanted to get into a program, maybe that wouldn't be right for you, but parents as teachers would be perfect. So Any of the people that have talked today, to include Marty, Caleb, and our Birth to 5 helpline friends, and myself and Elizabeth, can get you connected to these home visitation programs. Something I can't stress enough is that the ability of networking and people connecting these resources, like Marty was saying, as part of her main job is to bring people together, is really working. We know each other's programs, we know each other's resources, we know each other, which is great. And so any person can help you find the resource that you need. So just reach out. And then back to Andrea's, I think it was Andrea's question about free classes and can people attend the WIC classes. There is an alternative, or not alternative actually, because a lot of families go to both. In regards to breastfeeding. So there's a free virtual support breastfeeding group that is put on by Canyon Vista Medical Center. You don't have to live in Sierra Vista. You don't have to have had a baby in Sierra Vista. Anyone can literally join from anywhere. That's Mondays, 9:15 to 10:30 a.m. I did scratch out that number because that number is the wrong number for Stephanie, but you could always email her, or you could, I'm looking at her number really quick, shoot her a text and get the login information. We don't put the login information public because people hack into Zoom meetings and stuff like that. But her number is 520-508-6748. And you can text her or call her and she'll get you connected. Or again, you could connect with myself, Elizabeth, Marty, anybody who would be able to connect you to the right people. So please feel free to do that. Those were a couple of the big ones that I wanted to share with you in terms of free resources, but I wanted to, again, just reiterate why we presented community resources here when we're thinking about family engagement. And that reason is a lot of times the barrier to families being actively involved in the learning process, families being readily available to participate in conversations, in conferencing, in, again, the learning, can come from stress in the home, right? And that's the same with any of us. It's hard to maybe be our best at work if we have stress in our home, or it's hard to focus on reading a new book if we're working late because we are having to make ends meet. So it's not the only solution to family engagement, but being connected to resources is one solution to family engagement. And so it's so important to recognize your role in connecting families to concrete supports and resources that can help them eliminate some of that stress. And I think it's shifting from like, oh, I don't have time, or oh, that's not my role, or oh, who am I to connect them to a childcare helpline, and understanding that you might be the only other adult that that parent sees that day. You might be the only professional that that family trusts and would trust their opinion of. And just in general, you might have a wealth of knowledge that other people in their lives maybe aren't interact or don't have. And so when you realize that connecting families with more support to alleviate stress is going to increase their positive parenting, which again will then increase learning, behavior, all of these other things that are directly related to your goals in your classroom, it kind of shifts how we think about connecting families to resources. And so that's why we do this, and especially these resources, because the Birth to 5 helpline, Marty, Caleb, these are core family needs: access to food, access to childcare so I can go to work to keep a roof over our heads, access to information and strategies and skills that are going to possibly keep me from abusing or neglecting my child, or abusing or neglecting myself, because it's so overwhelming to manage all of these different things. And that sounds like a really serious way to put that, but it's very true. And so Again, I just cannot thank you guys enough for both attending today as guests and watching this later, but also to our presenters who shared their resources, because this is how this happens. This is how we kind of make that change, is we build a community of resources. We look out for each other in ways that are going to be a little bit deeper, a little bit more meaningful, and a little bit more holistic. And so when we're thinking about that family, I always think about this with family engagement. Well, they don't ever respond, or the family that, you know, is just your tricky family or your struggle family, or the family that you kind of feel hasn't been putting their kid on Zoom for whatever reason. Always taking a step back and thinking, I wonder what could be happening in this family, and is there a way that I can connect with them, and is there a way that I can, or a resource that I have that can support this family in some small way. So I could talk about that all night. I know it is late, so I will wrap that up. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Regan. And thank you for tying it all together so perfectly. Thank you for all of our guest presenters this evening. What you do for our community is so important, and it's very much appreciated. And I can't wait to share this with everybody. So thank you so much. And in closing, we have 2 more Taco Tuesdays in this cycle. April's will be reviewing and learning a little bit more how to use AZ registry, and learning a little bit more about professional development resources. And then in May, it's all about our teachers. We're going to have a teacher celebration. So thank you all so much, and have a fantastic evening. And if there's any other questions, I should say before we sign off. Okay. Thank you all so very much for being here. I really appreciate it. Have a great night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.